Could the Guardians of the Globe beat Omni-Man? You see, a big part as to why Omni-Man was able to win was because he took advantage of the chaos he created. They didn't really have time to think, they weren't prepared to coordinate their moves, and some of them let their guard down due to shock, leading some of them to make some, well, let's just say, questionable moves.
Bruh.
But let's just say hypothetically that the Guardians were able to quickly gather themselves and make the right choices. Now the situation has changed. Now they have a chance to win. So, how could they? In today's video, I'm going to be going over how the Guardians could have beaten Omni-Man in their fight. First, it's important to understand their abilities, so I'm gonna very quickly go over each Guardian's powers. The Immortal has superhuman strength, speed, durability, and stamina. He also has relatively quick regeneration, flight, and can be revived. War Woman has superhuman durability, strength, speed, the ability to fly, and wields an extremely hard-hitting mace. Red Rush has superhuman agility, speed, and reaction. This is accomplished through his ability to alter the composition of his atoms in such a way as to affect his body's ability to travel at fantastic velocities. He is faster than Omni-Man on the ground and can outspeed him in hand-to-hand combat. Green Ghost can fly, go invisible, control density of objects, and phase through objects. This allows her to move through solid objects as well as allow anything she touches to phase through objects as well. Martian Man has superhuman strength, durability, and elasticity that allows him to shapeshift. He can also regenerate as long as his brain is not destroyed. Aquarius can swim at high speeds and create and manipulate water at high volumes and power, having the power to at least distract Omni-Man and send a tank flying. And lastly, Darkwing, who is the equivalent to Batman, meaning he's in peak physical condition, wields a variety of gadgets, mastered multiple fighting styles, and has a vast knowledge of many subjects. Okay, now let's get into how each character can play a role in the fight and strategies of how they can win. First, Red Rush cannot play offense unless Omni-Man is restricted. While Omni-Man couldn't react to Red Rush's speed, he was able to grab him based off of where he hit him, leading to his death. Instead, Red Rush should have played the defensive role, essentially bailing anyone out that got into trouble. He was able to effectively save two fellow Guardians this way. The same thing applies to Green Ghost as well, lowering their density in case one of them got in trouble, so she could pull them out of the situation. Now, in terms of actually defeating Omni-Man, here are the 5 ways that the Guardians can defeat him. The first is actually shown in the fight. Martian Man is able to restrict Omni-Man by wrapping around him, allowing Immortal and War Woman to start beating on him. In this situation, there are a few things that these two could have done better. First, Immortal could have gone around Omni-Man and went for the eyes. While he wasn't able to take out his eyes in the rematch with Omni-Man, he was in extreme pain, telling from his screams of agony. Plus, if Immortal had more time to push in Omni-Man's eyes, he could have temporarily damaged his vision for the fight, which would have been a huge help. Second, War Woman needed to use her mace. In the original fight, she didn't have her mace because it was hid away, but in this situation, she would still have it if everything went to plan. Her mace seemed to do the most damage to Omni-Man out of everything during that fight, and even disoriented Omni-Man for a few seconds. Enough time for Immortal or War Woman to get another strike in. Another key part that these two missed is that they both went for the face. I think that a few hits to the groin, especially with the mace, would have done serious damage. And yeah, going for the nuts is a cheap shot, but so is murdering your friends, so... The only reason Omni-Man was able to escape this was because he crushed Martian Man's brain. However, if he decided to move his brain to the back of Omni-Man, where it would be more obvious that he was going for Martian Man, Immortal and War Woman could have reacted to this, either by macing his head to stun him, going for his eyes or groin to distract him with pain, or going directly for his arm to stop him from getting Martian Man. If it looked like Omni-Man was pushing through the pain and was about to get Martian Man, Red Rush could have moved Immortal and War Woman away, while Green Ghost could make Martian Man and herself untouchable, allowing the Guardians to reset and do it again. The main problem I'm seeing with this strategy is that Omni-Man will be able to predict the same strategy and stop Martian Man from attacking him in the first place. However, a simple counter to this would be distracting Omni-Man with projectiles. Both Aquarius and Darkwing use projectiles that either made Omni-Man give his full attention to or stun him for a few seconds. Enough time for Martian Man to swoop in and restrain Omni-Man again. Essentially, they're wearing down Omni-Man until he loses, since the Guardians always have an escape. More than likely though, Omni-Man will start to get used to the same strategy. Luckily, I've thought of more ways. As long as Red Rush is still alive, Green Ghost has the opportunity to play an offensive role. So, the second strategy would be Green Ghost can invis behind Omni-Man and sink him into the ground without the risk of harm. While this won't hold Omni-Man down for long, it can temporarily restrain him, allowing one of the heavy hitters to get a hit off. The only danger is right before Green Ghost touches Omni-Man, he predicts her appearance, so it's important she uses mix-ups. Coming from different angles and when he's distracted are essential mix-ups, so that even when she's not there, that looming threat of getting sunken into the ground always adds pressure. The third method to distract Omni-Man to get a clean hit off is through the use of projectiles. Aquarius' water attack allowed War Woman to get a mace hit in. The same thing applies to Darkwing's projectiles, as it seemed to stun him for at least a second. It's very important that these two stay out of range though, making it so that if Omni-Man was to attack these two, it would be obvious enough for these two to counterattack or for Red Rush to save them. These three strategies are all similar in pattern. Distract or restrain Omni-Man, allowing the heavy hitters to get clean hits off, while Red Rush and Green Ghost save anyone that gets into trouble. It's also very important that the Guardians fear his strength and do not overextend. The heavy hitters both died because they overextended. They need to get their hits off and then dip back, either on their own or by Green Ghost or Red Rush. The Guardians were almost able to beat Omni-Man in this fight, even with extremely poor decisions. Chances are, a few more good hits in, and Omni-Man could have potentially lost. If done correctly, these strategies should wear Omni-Man down enough to the point of death. But wait, didn't I say 5 strategies? That was only 3. There are 2 more, but they're kind of headcanon-y. However, they are still very plausible, so I wanted to add them. So, the 4th strategy is if Green Ghost goes invisible while Omni-Man is distracted, and then phases through his body, and then dematerializes his body, but leaves his organs materialized, allowing either her to take his vitals out of his body because there is no body, or for one of the heavy hitters to bash his exposed vital organs. As long as Green Ghost doesn't get hit while invisible, all Guardians should be out of harm during this interaction, assuming that she has the ability to do this. However, we didn't see much of her power, so it's not confirmed whether or not this is possible. And the 5th and final way that I think they can beat Omni-Man is... So, remember when Ant-Man running up Thanos' butt and then expanding was a meme? Well, I mean, technically, it could have worked. Now, theoretically speaking, Darkwing is Batman's equivalent, meaning that he should have knowledge of all the top heroes' powers. If he thought fast enough, he could have told Red Rush to go and get Shrinking Ray, while the other Guardians hold Omni-Man off for a minute, assuming Red Rush can find her that fast. Then, all they would have to do is get Red Rush or Ghost Girl to put her into Omni-Man's ear, and then she just expands. And yeah, it's not Ant-Man running up Thanos' butt, it has the same effect. However, once again, this is extremely headcanon-y, but technically, this is a strategy that may just work. Batman did have a list of how to beat every member of the Justice League, so it isn't out of the question to think that Darkwing would have a similar list, and it may just be possible that this strategy was one of the ones that could beat Omni-Man. Anyways though, I'm pretty confident that if the Guardians weren't so caught off guard and made the right decisions, as well as implemented the strategies that I presented today, Omni-Man would be at a serious risk of losing. The chaos Omni-Man created really just threw off all the Guardians, leading them to make extremely dumb moves that led to their death. Darkwing going for a melee attack, Red Rush trying to close combat Omni-Man, Martian Man not moving his brain to harder to reach places, Immortal and War Woman overextending and being overconfident, Aquarius not keeping his distance, and Ghost Girl not sitting intangible or invisible for almost the entire fight. Ghost Girl and Red Rush being main reasons for their loss, as they needed them as support roles, but they were taken out early. Plus, Omni-Man must have been testing their abilities and sizing them up for a while now to get every advantage he could, since the Guardians never even considered Omni-Man would turn on them.
Someone must be controlling him! He would never do this!
I'm serious though. Shrinking Ray, Omni-Man, Thanos' butt, Magic School Bus. I'm just saying, man. Yeah, that's about it. Also, there's a chance that Omni-Man was just holding back to get injured enough to make it believable. So, if that's the case, good luck, Mark. Hey guys, thanks for watching. You know, sticking all the way until the end, it really means a lot to me. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate a like, and if you're new here, hit the sub button. I put a lot of effort into every one of my videos to make them quality, so I'd love to have you here. And if you have any counter arguments or more ideas to defeat Omni-Man, I would love to read them in the comments. Anyways, have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.